Oh, welcome in, fellas, ladies, mamas, dadas, everybody who's listening. We're bringing to you Overreaction Tuesday, but not just any Tuesday. The Tuesday after Thanksgiving, my stomach might have grown 6 sizes over the weekend, but obviously, great things ahead. I'd like to first and foremost say I hope your holidays were wonderful. I hope that you all were safe and healthy. I hope that you also have a large gut because it feels great. But I'm not sure if you notice I'm a little sweaty. It's because, all right, I'm sure you heard on Twitter or something, the boys in the back, great holiday. They all chipped in, gave their fearless leader a Peloton bike. Yeah, you heard it here first. I got people screaming at me while I'm working out now. I'm doing some serious cardiovascular workout. My heart is pumping. My blood is churning. Hashtag not sponsored. I'm looking at you, Peloton or Arby's. I like Arby's. You're welcome here too. My editor in chief, always thankful for him, Ryan Chafin. He would love an Arby's sponsorship. Oh, I'm getting off track. I'm getting off track. Um, you understand what I'm saying. I hope your holidays were good. We're about to hit some more holidays. Christmas, almost as good as Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is just top tier for me. The food, the fellowship, the absolute shenanigans. Yeah, shenanigans with an S. Fun shenanigans. It's all just so wonderful. So I'm glad you're back with us. Great content as always. I'm sure at this point you just accustomed to it. You know, Dirty Slam. It's guaranteed you're gonna walk away with some great content. Ooh, sorry for that one. A little gassy after that all that food and work. Ooh, not good. Anyways, we got great guests today. Set numerous records. This dude's an absolute beast, setting records in the DGFL. Um, we're gonna be talking to him. We'll glance at the bets beforehand. We'll talk to him later in the segment. We'll get some of his overreactions. We'll look at his team just like we always do. But you're in for a treat. This guy is a legend in the DGFL community, runs a tight ship, great team. I'm super excited to talk to him. But first, I'll just briefly go over what's happened the past week, although, of course, the Ravens ruined everything. So we're a little slow here getting in the spreads and the lines, the results from last week, the upcoming stuff. But I got my ear to the wall. You know, I know what the line makers are gonna do before they do it because we're trying to take all their money. The slam of the week won. I mean, anybody who said that the slam of the week wasn't gonna win is an imbecile. You know, boys in the back, they took their holiday, they ate their turkey. Their minds are blazing fast. Never have I ever seen the boys in the back so focused. All right. Anyways, we'll briefly go over what happened. Two games have not yet finished. It's the Rods Bods Jollers and the Chester's Cheeseboards Weenie Wolves. If the Jollers manage to win, Mapletron, I heard all he needs is 32 points. They're in the playoffs. If the Jollers cannot win, then the Frogs make it. Anyways, going over the bets, the Slam of the Week won. Mafiosos covered, but they did not hit the over. Screaming Turtles covered. They did hit the over. The Peacocks covered, and they did hit the over. The Swines did not cover. Or no, the Swines did cover. I'm tripping. And they hit the over. So far, the lines makers stupid. They got a little too aggressive because there was a lot of favorites this week in the rivalry week. Most of the rivals are lopsided. So I think they were a little too aggressive on the lines, tried to get people caught up. I'm seeing a lot of green on this chart, more green than usual. I mean, I'm looking at Griffin, Andrew, Ryan, just absolutely stellar picks this week. Maybe we'll get one of you on there next week. Talk about the bets. But as of right now, no bet segment really to speak of because obviously we got to wait for this Ravens game to see how the playoff picture comes out. There's only going to be 4 bets there's only gonna be 4 games because oh, 4 teams get buys from the toilet bowl in the playoffs. So yeah, that math adds up. 8 teams play 2 matchups. There's going to be 4 bets this week, so you better get them all right. Like I was saying, ear to the wall. I getting some insight as of right now. I think word's coming down that all of these spreads are really close, except for the Peacocks Frogs matchup. I think the Swines Mafiosos and the Duckies Wolves game. Obviously, 2 sides of the different coin here. One of them is in the playoffs, the other is in the non-playoffs for the losers. Garbanzios. Anyways, those would be really close, tight spreads, I imagine. Really just a coin flip on who you think's going to win. Whereas the Jollers Cheese Boards matchup and the Peacocks Frogs matchup, those will probably be a little larger spreads because of past performances. But there could be injuries. We'll keep you updated, see how matchups turn out. Probably high over unders because end of the season, people are playing, firing on all cylinders. I'm talking to you, Derrick Henry, you, Tyreek Hill. Y'all need to calm down. Honestly, calm down. I played against one of you in my other league. Oh, sorry. Boys and back tell me keep my mouth shut. I said nothing about that. Don't worry about it. Rods and Turtles get the bye in the playoffs. I can't even tell you who gets the bye in the toilet bowl. I don't want to talk about those games, but for the community, I will. Peacocks and Swines are the favorite, probably with high over unders, and as of right now, I probably favor the Swines and the Peacocks to pull through in those. We'll kind of dive into some of those later in the week. Huge show on Thursday, Spicy Boy Thursday. If a certain team can pull through and make the playoffs, we may or may not have a triple header coming at you. It's truly going to be a week to behold. The first round of the playoffs, a lot of teams, a lot of fans are looking forward to these bets because you know what? They're not in it anymore. They want to have a stake in the matter. So obviously, we're giving you the content. I don't want to slow this thing down any longer. You know, I'm here to talk about overreactions. The headliner overreaction, of course, is will one of the big 3 win it all? We got to see if the Frogs make it first. If Mapletron can get 32, Frogs are out. But if Maple can't get 32, Frogs are in. All of the big 3 have a shot to win it all. That's the headliner of the week. That's the overreaction of the week. Obviously, you tweeted at us at official DGFL on Twitter, hashtag Overreaction Tuesday. We're going to be getting into some of those later. But for right now, I'm going to be introducing my compatriot here, my fellow man of the hour. All right. He'll be coming in about 5 seconds. Oh, here we go. And we're back. That might have been the slickest transition I have ever done. All right. We're here with the man I was introducing earlier, an absolute record setter in the DGFL. All right. 1 win on the season, 39 points or something like that a few weeks back.
I think it was 36.
36 points. The Pillas, an absolute monolith of an organization right now. Everybody's talking about him. Everybody loves having their name on their mouth. So it had to be a necessity to get the Pillas in here to get in some overreactions on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Love the sleeveless shirt, buddy. How are you doing?
Good, man. Honored to be here with such a great podcaster like yourself. It's been a difficult season, like you said. Also, like you said, everybody likes to talk about me, and everybody gets cocky when they play me. Which, I mean, if we look at Chafin last week, the guy becomes the cockiest guy on the planet. I'm like, dude, good job.
We'll,
Ridiculous.
we'll get into some of that later. Obviously, you got some things to say. Obviously, you got some things on your mind in terms of the toilet bowl future, but I kind of briefly mentioned earlier the headliner overreaction. We'll just kick it off right here. Do you think one of the big three is going to end up winning it all? The Swines are hot. Henry has a cakewalk. They have Cleveland, then Jacksonville, Detroit, and Green Bay. So three out of their next four matchups are the worst rushing defenses in the NFL right now. He also traded an upgrade at tight end for Tanyan. Seems like the guy's got no weak positions. What are you thinking about the Swines going into the playoffs right now? Do you think they have a shot? We'll talk about the Turtles and Frogs in a second. Just want to hear what your take is on the Swines.
I mean, it's hard to bet against them right now. Like you said, Henry's playing the three worst defenses, and even if they load the box with 9 guys, he's got AJ Brown to make up for it, who Tannehill's just going to throw to every time. So, yeah, I'd say it's difficult to bet against the Swines right now. I mean, what they put up, 160 points this week, it's going to be tough to beat them.
I mean, you say it's hard to bet against them. I'm sitting here thinking it's incredibly easy to bet for them. I might slam them every single week in the playoffs. I know.
Absolutely.
I'm getting my money, taking all the money from the house. Boys in the back, they said hello, of course. My bad. They were ragging on me for not telling you hi earlier. Boys in the back, they're loving the Swines in a few of these matchups. They're loving Henry. Turtles, they got 137 points this week. They didn't even have Lamar, Andrews, no disrespect. They didn't even have CMC either. I mean, is his team doomed? Because there's no way Tyreek Hill can do 50 every single week, you know? Are the Turtles dead?
I mean, it's hard to say they're dead. That roster is unbelievable. I don't think Lamar is, the superstar that he was last year. But the rest of the roster, I think Zeke might turn it around. He's got Dalvin. CMC is going to come back. Tyreek, Andrews will come back. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. God forbid any of his top 10 dynasty assets become good again. There's no way that could happen. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, I think his biggest problem right now is the quarterback position. Lamar's got to come back, and he's got to bounce back. I don't think he's been playing as well as he is, as his potential is. I mean, he's got Phillip Rivers, I believe. Is that right?
I don't even know. It doesn't really matter.
I think it's Phil Rivers, which I don't think is that much of a drop off right now, unless Lamar.
Kirk Cousins. Boys in the back just worded me in. He got Kirk Cousins. Wishes he started him this week. Good pairing with him and Jay Jeff on the outside.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to mention Jefferson. I mean, he's a stud. I wish I could have him on my team. Yeah, we could use him.
Don't we all? I wish I could have a team in the DGFL, but lo and behold, I'm just here doing podcast betting. Anyways, off topic.
Exclusive group.
Yeah, it is. It is. You guys are awesome. I was gonna say a lot of people have been bringing up Lamar is Lamar is dead. Maybe the Turtles aren't dead, but Lamar's dead. Dude's seeing ghosts out there. I think that was I think that was Sam Darnold. But we'll get into the Swines QB room later in the show. I think the Turtles are sneaky. A lot of people are going to be thinking they're dead, betting against them. I'm sure the lines makers are thinking the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they could. Obviously, they don't have a matchup this week because of their bye, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up covering, whether they're the underdogs and they lose or whether they're the overdogs and they cover and win. Anyways, Turtles, I think they're a pretty safe bet because they have so much talent. Now let's talk about the Frogs. Member of the Big Three in name only. I do not think that his team is nearly up to the task of the other members. But they are kind of sneaky. If Kyler and Lazard pick it back up to what they were doing, he just got back Eckler, who might have gotten 15 targets.
My mom says hi.
Hello, Pilla's mother. It's always good seeing some family, Thanksgiving
Oh yeah.
holidays. Tell them all afterwards. We wish them the best. Anyways, Eckler might have just got 15 or 16 targets last week. I mean, Metcalf, Eckler, Kyler, and Lazard theoretically could win him some games. What do you think about the Frogs? Do you think they could get carried out of the first round? And do you think they put up a fight against like the Bods in their next matchup if they win the first round?
I think it'll be tough for the Frogs. They've got some good pieces, like you said. DK, Kyler, Eckler's back. I think they gave away too much start the season. If they had Thielen, if they had Kelsey,
and Christian McCaffrey,
honestly, and McCaffrey.
Well, actually, he gave up McCaffrey to get DK and Eckler.
Right.
So keep that. Honestly, if he did have Kelsey and Thielen, I think he might win the championship with his team.
I think so too.
It might hurt
those guys are on fire.
It might hurt him to hear that, but I mean, he's got three first round picks and 2 next year for it. So I mean, maybe
sometimes I think about why he decided to rebuild. I felt like his team was right there and they were ready to compete right then and go for the championship. And then you see him, he tries to rebuild, but then he sneaks into the playoffs. And so it's like, well, maybe he should have kept all that.
He does, unless maybe it's the Bods. Unless the Bods win it, I think he will end up having every single 9, 10, 11, and 12 maybe of the first round, or maybe it's just 10, 11, 12. I don't know. We talked to him last week about it. His pick situation's kind of crazy. I was hoping, in terms of betting on him in the playoffs, I was hoping he was going to shell out some of those picks and get another guy. But he didn't. So it'll be tough to bet on his matchups because obviously any of his dudes could go for 50 a week.
Absolutely.
I guess that's not his team. That's the Swines and the Turtles, the other members of the Big Three. But maybe one of his guys goes for 50. Maybe, I don't know. DK might have done it in the past. Anyways, we briefly touched on all three of them. Which one do you think has the best chance to win it all?
That's a good question. I'd say right now, the Swines.
The
Swines. They have a good chance to repeat. I think the Turtles are right there, though.
Yeah, that side of the bracket is tough. Swines, Turtles, Man Month, Mafiosos.
Yeah, it's going to be a grind out there. I think the Swines are in great position right now. They have a quarterback that is playing outstanding compared to Lamar. I'm not excited about Lamar. I keep coming back to it. I'm just not excited about him.
Hey, it's all right. He was the MVP. Maybe he turns it around in the playoffs. We'll see.
A little bit of a Madden curse, possibly.
We'll see. Anyways, moving on. I mentioned their Man Month Mafiosos. Our next overreaction question is: has Man Week / Man Month ended in flames because of DJ Moore injury? Are the Mafiosos dead?
Well, I wouldn't say they're dead. Still put up 120. A little over that, I think, this week.
Give or take.
So I think they can still compete, maybe get a win in the playoffs. It's just
they have the tough
losing
side of the
DJ
bracket.
hurts. They're going to need Pat to really step it up. And the other receivers.
Which he might have thrown for 300 yards in the first quarter or something like that.
Something crazy. I wish I had him on my team.
Which directly hurt Clyde Edwards, needless to say.
That is true. That is true. It's tough having having a Chiefs running back on your team.
Yeah, it is.
They abandon the run, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So that could come back to bite the mafiosos
Yeah, there were
in the
some
butt.
there were some weeks they do it well, other weeks they just game plan it out, which like you're saying, it could bite him in the butt. DJ Moore, he was gonna have a bye week inevitably, anyways. The Panthers have a bye this week, so they were gonna have to play with him regardless.
Right.
Twitter, my boys, they're in the back, of course. They're telling me that as of right now, nothing crazy on DJ Moore's injury. His knee doesn't look terrible right now, but they don't know about the Achilles yet. A lot of people think it's Achilles. It could be the Achilles. Regardless, they won't have him because of the bye week. Opportunity is what I've heard him be called. David Montgomery, he was out with concussion. They brought in the OC to finally make play calls instead of Nagy. Trubisky got out there. They were up against arguably the worst rushing defense in the league, and he finally took advantage of it. The Bears have a cakewalk playoff schedule. Can he finally carry his weight and really, really overcome all of that emotional trauma he gave to their owners last year?
I mean, he's going to have to. He's going to have to if they want to compete. Like we said, Clyde's not getting it done. He's pretty touchdown dependent at this point, I would say. Mm-hmm. But I think he'll step it up. I think the Bears know that the quarterback situation is an absolute disaster, no matter who they play, and so they got to pound the ball.
Yeah.
I think he'll be getting more carries, but if he doesn't perform, the mafiosos have very little chance, I'd say.
They're dead.
Especially if the Chiefs have a bad game, playing some bad weather, Pat can't get it done, Kelsey. So it could come down to opportunity.
It could. And you know what? That's why they call him opportunity, because he has the opportunity to be the guy, That's
Absolutely.
why the mafiosos love him so much. He is the epitome of what they need in man months, all right? Can the big names of McLaurin, Thielen, Mahomes, Kelsey, can they bring some of these young bucks that are going to have to fill in, like possible Darnell Mooney, possible Gabe Davis? Deontay's been hurt. Can they get these guys in there, get them performing well, or is that something they just gotta play for brighter days next year?
Yeah, I mean, those guys that you mentioned, they bring a veteran presence to the locker room. So hopefully they can calm the nerves come playoff time of those younger guys. Mooney, I think Mooney's going to be tough. Just because, I mean, whether it's Trubisky or Foles out there, it's tough. But is it Gabe Davis? He had a big game.
Oh yeah, monster kid I saw.
Oh yeah. So if he can keep that up, he could be big X factor for the mafiosos going into the playoffs.
Because the number 2 there, I think it's John Brown at Buffalo. He's on IR, so I think that's why Gabe's getting his shot. He made pretty good splash this week. Touchdown, 3 catches, bunch of yards. Obviously, like you're saying, Mooney, you might as well be out there at quarterback for the Bears. I mean, like, what are they gonna? Who's throwing it to? They might as well sign Hinton from the Broncos.
Yeah, it's a rough situation.
Yeah, I think great route runner. Obviously, I looked at him in terms of how we were betting on it this week. And obviously we slammed the mafiosos because we thought he was going to perform, but it wasn't him. It was the other side of the coin. It was Mop. So it's all right.
Right. Hey, whatever gets the job done.
Sure. So like we said earlier, Derrick Henry has his toughest matchup in the playoffs against the Browns. Do you think that the mafiosos have any shot in Hades at beating the Swines that are rolling right now?
It's going to be tough. Like we said, the Swines have been there before. They won it all last year. Mafiosos were the worst team in the league last year. So it's new territory for them. So we'll see if the coaching staff and front office can handle that, get the boys ready.
Yeah.
I think there is a chance that the Mafiosos can pull it off. The Swines have had a couple rough games, and it all depends on Derrick Henry. Because if he goes off for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half again, I mean, have fun watching the rest of the playoffs on your couch, Mafiosos.
Derrick Henry,
no chance.
Much like this coin, the coin flip of the matchup. Anyways, that was weird. Absolutely. I don't know why I did that. I saw a coin. I decided to be. Anyways, like you were saying, Mafiosos don't know the territory. They're being spastic with these marketing brands of Man Month, putting in random players a few weeks ago over DJ Moore. Absolute idiots. I've talked about it in the past. Their front office might as well not know what they're doing. But, they got the talent. Maybe they can do it. We'll move on, try and hit some of the other topics. Flipping to the other side of the bracket, we're going to be looking at the Cocks, the Peacocks, that is. With the addition of Allen Robinson, are the Peacocks unbeatable is the overreaction question, right? I'll preface it with another kind of statement question-esque. Can the Frogs, Swines, Mafiosos, depending on how the playoffs shake out, can one of those 3 teams beat down the big, hard Cocks next week? Wish them luck. They are tough to stroke out a win against, of course. Their juices are flowing, and when they get hot and bothered, the Cocks make sure to burst out and leave nothing left in the tank. Oh, sorry, boys in the back wrote that one, obviously. Peacocks, they're rocking and rolling. Do you think they're unbeatable?
Wow, I was not ready for that one. No, they're not unbeatable. I'm pretty sure we've seen a few games in the past few weeks where the Peacocks struggled to score 100 points. If you're not scoring 100 points, you have no chance in the playoffs. I'd say you got to be probably close over 120 each week if you want to go through. No, they're not unbeatable. I think Josh Allen is a wild card. He can absolutely go off for 45 points in a game, or he could go off for 10.
Yeah.
And that's huge. He's always a little careless with the football. So Peacock's really got to make sure he's handling the ball well, not giving it up.
Yeah, and the Cock's got to make sure he's handling the balls well. I got what you're saying.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't say they're unbeatable. I think there are a few teams out there that can definitely beat them and knock them off.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, they struggled to get 100, 110 these last few weeks. But, I mean, nearly 150 this week. Is it just a flash or hoax, or is it kind of a rallying cry of all the Cocks? Are they stiffening up in their organization? What's going on with the Peacocks?
I think they're getting ready. I mean, they're definitely going to come out and compete. They've got a lot of good players. Key's going to be if Gibson can keep it up.
Huge performance.
He had a huge game this week. Really carried them. So if he can keep it up, I think they've got a good shot at going all the way to the championship. But I would say by no means are they, I don't think they're the favorite.
They're very middle-esque to me. But it'll make betting on them hard because, like you were saying, they could go nuclear. They could fizzle out, not sizzle out. That's stupid. Anyways, not much to like the Peacocks are. They fly under the radar. Not much in terms to really dive into. But here is a topic that I boys in the back really did their research here. And there's been some rage in the community. I heard that the Peacocks might have a shot at the number 1 pick. How mad would you be as an owner if the Peacocks won the championship and got the number 1 pick?
It'd be frustrating. Um, it, but honestly, hats off to them. If they can pull that off. But absolutely frustrating, especially with all the nonsense our organization has gone through with them.
For sure. And I heard that trade went through. He traded like 4 Fruit Loops and 2 or 3 nightshades for the first, you know? Absolute. Right. But it's all right. Obviously, I'm not in there. I don't really know it went down. I just saw the trade on Twitter. To me, it looked crazy. But anyways, you were saying about what your organization and them have been through. I mean, is there anything really that you have to say in terms of how the Peacocks handle themselves? In terms of like anything you want to say to anybody else in the league? Just want to give you this opportunity, you know, let your venting out, you know, bro. I got you.
I'm just disappointed in the way the Peacocks have handled themselves. The biggest thing that sticks out to me is 2 weeks after my big trade of Mahomes, OBJ goes down, tears his ACL. 5 minutes later, Gueves is sending in a GIF.
No.
Making fun of it.
Oh, my gosh. An injury?
I mean, it's just the lowest of the lows.
The lowest. I can't believe that. T's and P's Odell, T's and P's Joey Burrow. I can't believe that.
Yeah. It's disappointing.
To say the least.
Also, very frustrating to try to have a discussion with them. A number of teams in the league, when looking at this trade and analyzing the trade, we're taking Pat Mahomes and comparing him to a single asset in the trade.
Oh, wait. We'll get into the details of the trade later on. Later on. I just, you know, it's good to hear what you're saying. Good to get your perspective. Maybe we'll have the owner of the Cox on later, in this week, maybe next week, future weeks. We'll see. Great to hear what you're saying. But we're gonna get into your team later on. You know, appreciate what you're saying. Now let's move into the non-playoff teams. All right.
Here we go.
Topic. Out of the Duckies, Cheese Boards, Weenies, Jollers, and Bears, who do you think has the biggest offseason in terms of moving their team in the right direction? Sub points, Duckies are getting back injured players. Pillows, we're going to talk about you later, so I won't highlight you here. Cheese Boards have a lot of young guys. Seems like they're going to be getting better with more reps. Weenies made a lot of moves to get older talent at the cost of their early pick. Jollers are probably going to draft Kyle Pitts. Bears have an extra late first from Rod by giving up Keenan Allen, the number 3 overall receiver. You know, another big trade. Anyways, just give me some insight, man. I sprinted through those points. Did anything stick out to you out of those teams? We'll talk about the Pillows later, so don't mention them in here. But out of those teams, do you think that which one of them do you think has the biggest offseason, turns it around the best? What do you think?
I honestly think the Jollers have a good chance. I think they've got a really good roster. When I look at it, I think if they could maybe get a QB and a couple other pieces, I think they could be right there. I mean, Ben might have one more year, possibly. I think they got a good shot. I think the Wolves will be the worst team by far next year.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, I'm gonna have somebody on later in the week who also really hated that Gaskin trade. We're gonna be diving into that. He's notorious for being an investigative journalist in all things friend related. He can find anything. He has a reminder set up for next year on the day that the Gaskin trade was made to see how that panned out for the Wolves. So I mean, you know, we're gonna be talking to him about the Gaskin trade, of course. You think the Wolves are gonna be terrible? We'll see. They got a lot of talent.
I think so. I think the Duckies will bounce back if Dak can come back. That's going to be huge. If Dak doesn't come back and he's stuck with Baker Mayfield, then no. But I think that they can bounce back. They got to get a running back. You can't start 2 running backs for the same team. It's not going to work.
Especially when it's the Browns.
Yeah, exactly. The Bears.
It's almost like it's in the Bears' court, you know. Like they have these pick equity now. Can they actually do something good with it?
Right.
You know.
I think as long as the team name is the Bears, I think that's just the kiss of death.
And it's you probably listened to it last week. We had 2 of the greatest brand managers in the league on, Swines and Frogs. We already kind of went over the bare necessities. You know, it's choking them out. The fans hate it, the players hate it, the other owners hate it. So you're right. It's the kiss of death.
I think there's some serious rebranding that needs to be done.
And do you think most of these teams are going to have a longer rebuild, or do you think a few can turn it around in 1 year and push the playoffs? What are you thinking in terms of competing next year?
I mean, I'd honestly say there's only 3 teams that are actually in need of a serious rebuild. Like I said, I don't think the Jawlers need one. I don't think the Duckies need one. I think both those teams are a couple pieces away. I mean, the Duckies made it to the championship last year.
They did.
So I think they're close. I think the Bears definitely need a rebuild. They got 2 first-round picks. So we'll see. Their quarterback situation isn't great. Wolves, and the cheese boards are kind of in an interesting place.
Yeah, they're purgatory. I was just about to ask that. Do you what do you think the cheese boards have to do? You know, do they have to shell out and go full rebuild, or do you think they have to give up draft equity to try and get out of that state? You know?
Yeah, I think they're. I just think they're in a really. It's a tough situation. They had a few weeks where they really came out, put up some big numbers. Other weeks they're putting up 60 with me and the Bears. So it's tough. I think he's either got to, make some trades, get rid of his picks and get some key players, or he's got to go full rebuild. I think if he just kind of sits tight, he's just going to be, I don't know, what is he, 4-6, 5-6? He's just going to be there.
He'll always be on the fringe, never quite making it. I get what you're saying. All right. Well, that's all I have in terms of overreactions. You got any statements that you want to make before we get into the some of these Twitter comments? Hashtag Overreaction Tuesdays on at official DGFL. You got any overreactions you want to say in terms of the playoffs, toilet bowl? Who's going to win the lottery for the first pick? What are your overreactions? You got any?
I'd say big overreaction. I'd say I'd look for the Frogs to advance out of round 1.
Whoa! It beat the Cocks.
I think there's a good possibility it could happen.
Okay.
It depends on which Frogs team shows up, obviously. There's the 50-pointer. Or there's the 130-point team.
Yeah.
So if that team shows up, I think the Frogs got a good shot, and they could knock off the Peacocks.
Well, I'll tell you what. At Turtles Screaming on Twitter has to disagree with you heavily there. Their overreaction is the Frogs will lose in the first round again. But we see an agreement. The Good Dog 2, I think that's how you pronounce it. After showing what a gritty team they are and sneaking into the playoffs, so the Frogs are favorite to win it all. I think a lot of people are looking at the Frogs and they're thinking like, wow, these guys really got some moxie. It's the Swines' motto is moxie, but the Frogs have shown it.
They're a sneak peek. Or
sneak peek. Whoa.
I mean, I feel like a lot of teams wrote them off pretty early. They took a tough week 2 loss to the Pillows.
Your only win?
Yes, they were our only win.
Hey, wouldn't it make the Pillows the greatest team in the league if they showed that, like, hey, we only need to beat one team and it's the league champions, you know?
Right.
That'd be a real showing to everybody else.
I've talked to some of the boys in the organization. We're rooting for the Frogs going in. A couple other teams we like. We really like the Frogs though. We think that they can, since they are kind of a part of the rebuilding squad, that we can throw our support behind them, and we'd love nothing more than for them to knock off the Peacocks.
For sure.
We can't stand them.
The proletariat, as I've heard the rebuilding teams be called.
Right.
Anyways, getting into some other hashtag Overreaction Tuesdays. Division champion Rods Boz commented, Russell Wilson is still the best quarterback in the league. That is probably incorrect after he did not put up more points than Carson Wentz, I think. Division Rods Bods, I think that is a big overreaction, all right?
That's tough. I think it's clearly Patrick Mahomes. Whoever has him is lucky. Never trade him away.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll definitely hear about that trade later on. We'll get your take on the matter, but honestly, I'm feeling Kyler Murray is really there for me. He's been down a few weeks in a row, but it's between them two for me. Anyways, DJ Moore. Oh, this is at Real Mafioso says, with DJ Moore looking to be out, who steps up in that role during hashtag Man Month? Of course, the Mafioso is bringing it back. Do you have a player in mind that you would say steps up into that quickly?
Yeah, I'd say Gabe Davis. If John Brown is out and he's in the starting lineup for Buffalo, I think he's definitely going to put up some big numbers. Josh Allen can really whip it all around the field.
It's crazy having Josh Allen on the Cox. He's just whipping that thing all around. Like you're saying, I'm telling you what. Anyways, at Swines2 says Swines are the best team in the DGFL. Hashtag underreaction, all right? No need to talk about that. We both think they're a strong favorite. Fantasy Foot Jollers say, are the at Swines2 the team to beat headed into the playoffs? We also talked about that a lot, but is there anything you have to say in terms of that? I think they are the team to beat. Like if you don't beat the Swine, if the Mafiosos don't beat the Swines week 1, I think they win the whole thing.
Absolutely. I'd say they're a team to beat, even though they're not the number 1 team coming in. I think that they are the hottest team right now. A lot of people would say maybe the Turtles are the team to beat, but that's what they said last year, and he lost to the Bears.
That's pitiful.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Swines had a follow-up comment, said it's probably because they're so deep at quarterback. They have Aaron Rodgers. Can you name anybody else on their team that's at quarterback? I can't. I think that's blatant overreaction. Their quarterback situation is abysmal. What is it, like Drew Lock?
Yeah. If Rodgers goes down, they're screwed.
Hey. We didn't say that. Aaron Rodgers, stay healthy. We love you, man. We didn't say that.
Absolutely. I hope for the team that he wouldn't. Because after that, I mean, I don't know. Do they have like DiNucci or something?
Do not talk about Ben DiNucci like that. Ben DiNucci is so good.
Can he carry a team to the championship?
Yes, he can. The DiNucci. All right. Ferocious Frogs say the Turtles will lose their first playoff game, which is well worded because the Turtles do not play a first-round game. So they're saying they will lose in the semis, which is not entirely out of the question if the Swines win that first round. I think the Turtles will be the favorite there if the Mafiosos end up winning, depending on how players are playing. Anyways, Nick Foles for president says Swines are the clear favorites. I should have packaged those two comments together earlier. We talked about them, and the last two is this is a good question to talk about. Are the weenies maybe not that bad? From JRod_62. He says seems like they've picked up a lot of momentum for next year. What do you have to say to JRod62? And then I'll answer after you.
I think they're bad. It's tough. I think it hurts the locker room knowing they could have had Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. But now they're going to get the 10th pick in the first round instead of one of those absolute studs. So I think that's going to hurt some momentum. I think it might have already hurt some momentum. Yeah. But I think they're bad.
I concur. Their team is mostly terrible. I think they do have some shining spots. Deshaun Watson has been absolutely. lights out since Bob left. Bill O'Brien, he's been freaking stellar. I mean, Amari Cooper is fine when he's pretty good when Dak's there, but like when nobody's throwing for 5,000 yards a season, he's pretty stinky.
Right. And he's also one of 3 really good wide receivers at this point, with CD and Gallup.
Yeah, it is true. They do have a sick wide receiver core. I do think that it does come down to if Gaskin can be the starting running back in Miami next year. If they end up drafting a guy, then that was basically just trading an early first for a late first, which is absolutely stupid. But if Gaskin is the starting RB, that might turn into a pretty good deal, honestly, if I have to say.
Yeah, he had a good year, but there's a lot of speculation that he's not going to be the guy next year. And so if that's the case, then it was possibly one of the worst trades in league history.
Don't want to say anything. I'm just kidding. I'm overreacting. The weenies are dead. They're dead.
Absolutely.
All right, and then last one, pretty easy to talk about. Let me see his name, at the DBL champ, the double champ. I thought it was the dumbbell champ when I first read it. I thought he might have some crazy large shoulders. I don't know. Anyways, I think at D_A_Bears win the lottery and get first pick. Not out of the question. I haven't looked at the points for yet. But we lines makers, I have heard in the rumblings in the community that there may be bets on who gets the first overall pick. I do not think that is out of the question that the Bears get it. I think it's a tough fight between the Pillows and the now Peacock's pick because of that trade and the Bears. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Pillows to get it, but
I would say so. This week's max points haven't updated.
It's not over yet.
I'm just going based off of last week's, and where it stands now is the Wolves have the highest odds. Their max points is about 50 points lower than the Pillows, and then the Bears are right after them. The Pillows are 16 points lower than the Bears.
Yeah. Now the Wolves did end up scoring about 100 points.
Right. And the Pillows outscored the Bears by 12, maybe.
Something like that.
So it's gonna be close.
There could be some shakeups coming. Regardless, it doesn't really matter going in the lottery because it's a worthless thing to have. Because last year the 5th guy got it instead of the dude. No need to rant. All right, we're done with the overreactions for this week. Moving on to the Pillows. All right, we avoided talking about you for this specific reason. We want to get into a segment primarily talking about you and your team, your off season, and what's going on in your big bad brain of yours. Historic season, buddy. Oh, I just want to thank you for being such a beast, Historic. 1 win. How do you do that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
the lowest points scored in a game ever. I don't know if it's ever going to be beaten.
No way.
How do you feel about your team as of right now?
You know, it was a disappointing season, but we're optimistic. I mean, we have 6 guys that are currently on IR, 2 on COVID, 1 suspended. We still got Josh Gordon stored away.
Oh,
so we're hoping
electric player.
We're hoping he can come back. Yeah, very good player. But we've got Joey Burrow coming back next year. I think he's going to be better than ever.
Oh yeah.
You look at what he was working with this year. With that line,
nothing.
That's awful. And they don't have to look at drafting a QB this year. They've got him. They can focus on protecting him, maybe getting him a couple other weapons. So I think he's going to have a great year next year. We obviously got Saquon coming back.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be big if he can, actually get the ball and run. Hopefully the Giants will build that offensive line.
Yeah,
we also have OBJ.
Boys in the back. Quick side comment. They're telling me the story of the Pillars right now is having awful protection between old Joey and old Bark.
Absolutely.
Awful protection. Anyways, you're talking about Odell.
We got him coming back. A lot of scrutiny. Tough injury, but I think he'll bounce back. He's going to have a decent year. We're going to have a top 3 pick. There's some absolute studs.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a number of assets, future picks that we could use to possibly make a trade. We've been in discussions with a few teams on some certain key players.
I think you got like 1 day on that, buddy.
But off-season trade.
Okay. I got you. You're probably gonna forget about those, but
Right. Well, yeah, probably.
Anyways, I wanted you to talk about those 3 guys before I said the headliner of those. This might be the greatest headliner I've ever created. It's Burrow, Beckham, Barkley, the 3 Bs and the 3 knees. That might be the greatest headline I've ever created. The 3 Bs and the knees, baby. All right.
That's quality stuff.
I think they're going to come back and tear up the league. I think the Pillars do a mafioso flip, honestly. Bottom of the league to top 4 in the league, Good to hear about that. Now,
that's what. Right.
Cool.
No, go ahead.
Transitioning now, you talked about this a little earlier before I cut you off. I got to keep us on track for the hour. I got to get the ads in. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Everybody wants to know. Full season under the way. What are your thoughts on the Mahomes deal? Looking back, do you have any regrets on the deal? Do you like where it's at now? Do you maybe like? You got any just talk about it. We all want to know what's going on in the Pillars organization, getting rid of a talent like that,
Right. So I had no regrets. The only time that some regrets might have slipped in was once Burrow got hurt.
Yeah.
But even when Odell went down, still no regrets. I just think that we are at a place in our organization where we had to rebuild, right? And the only way that was going to happen was we had to get rid of one of our 2 big pieces in either Saquon or Pat. I think Saquon is more valuable as a running back, even though Pat is supposed to be the guy for 10 years. Running backs are always more valuable. So we had to get rid of Pat. It was a tough decision. It's a business. I think that the guy we got is going to be an absolute star. We saw what he could do when he had weapons last year at LSU. When he had guys like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So I think if the Bengals, can get him some weapons, he's going to be a top 5 QB. And he was putting up, I think he was ninth or eighth. Yeah, ninth or eighth in points before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 2 second-round picks, which might not seem like much. But one of them is going to be the second pick in the second round, and then mid to late second round.
At minimum. Could be the first.
Right. Could be the first. So just looking at, the guys that were drafted last year in the second round, there's some stars. Chase Claypool went in the third round last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a good draft, I think that the trade pays off. And we're going to turn it around.
Ball's in your court. We had somebody on last week. The Pillows consistently known for nothing being in their hands in terms of how matchups go. It's always in the opposition's head. Anyways, off season, it's in your court. You got trades on the table. You're talking about drafting guys. You got a lot to think about. Going from not doing many off-season deals and not many to doing possibly one of the largest in the league, maybe behind that McCaffrey deal. Anyways, sorry, tangent. Again, my boys in the back, they wanted me to say this. It's looking at the Pillows and they have so much draft equity. Terry, it's actually his birthday today. Terry's birthday today. Anyways, he wants to know if you're looking at consolidating picks and maybe trying to move up some of those seconds into the first if you like any of those guys, or if you're just going to sit tight and wait until things shake out. Who's declaring, who's doing what, getting picked where.
That's a good question. I'd say right now we're probably staying put.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's going to be some guys in the second round that we can get.
Yeah.
I'd say there's more of a chance that we trade those picks away for a player rather than a higher draft pick.
Yeah.
We have 3 second-round picks. So I think we could get a good player for those picks.
Yeah.
If we don't use them ourselves. I haven't had any discussions about possibly moving up to another first-round pick. There's honestly not many first-round picks left to be traded for.
Yeah, well, in the offseason, you could be talking with the Frogs depending on what they're thinking, because going from that 108, 109 territory back to the 201, that's a difference. Last year, that's the difference between Justin Jefferson and Mims, which Mims could be fantastic, but obviously Jefferson's generational, it looks like. That's what the Pillars are looking to get. My next few things before we talk about just broad general things, this is just tangent. What are you most excited for next season? The draft, maybe your injured guys coming back and you're excited to see what they can do, or are you excited for trades? So what out of anything, maybe it's a different thing. What are you most excited for after this season?
That's a good question. Excited to get the lottery rule overturned.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
We are getting rid of that. I don't know.
Man.
I don't remember voting on this. The commissioner says we voted. I don't remember it.
I'm telling you, this commissioner is major shady,
Yes. Highly questionable.
I'm
excited for that. I'm excited to get my guys back. I've got 3 stars that are
Sorry,
ACLs.
cut you off. Speaking of those rule changes, do you have any others that you might be lobbying for that we can get inside your brain? You got anything else you want to put in there?
Good good question. I'd say honestly, I was one of the biggest guys against the kickers and defense last year.
Okay.
But at this point, I honestly would be okay with not bringing them back.
Whoa, that's big time.
So I've flipped my position on that. I'd say.
Man.
I enjoy the 2 flex positions. Definitely more flexibility with that. And I don't have to worry about a kicker and a defense. So I apologize for the
you don't
conflict that caused.
You got no need to apologize to me. I wasn't at the meeting. I don't know anyone was happening. I just was
Right.
getting
in general.
Ear to the door. Obviously, it's much easier for us betting on games because we have no idea what a defense or a kicker is going to do. Like,
absolutely,
Yu Hung Koo put up like 40 this week or something like this if you play in a league with kickers. So I mean, like, where is he? He's never done. Anyways, good to hear that you're really developing your tastes in terms of fantasy. Word around the league is that you've played in IDP, so I was just maybe teeing that up in case you wanted to might bring that to the table. Appears you don't, so it's all good.
I'd say for a dynasty league, I would stay away from IDP. In my IDP, you keep 4 players at the end of the year, and so you usually keep 1. I just think it would be so hard to have a dynasty defensive player draft.
Yeah.
It's so much to keep up with.
Some would say that these big changes, per se, IDP, Superflex, some would say that it's too hard to transition anyways, so that it might be better to just entirely redraft. And obviously, it's only second year. Nobody wants to do that except for maybe the bare necessities because their team is so bad. Anyways. Just switching to kind of that off-season mentality is how do you feel about this possible league restructure? Do you think, obviously, for audiences understanding, it's switching from 2 divisions of 6 and it's going to switch into 4 divisions of 3 possibly. They haven't decided. That's a possibility. They'll be talking about it. I've heard Adam Schefter was leaking that information to me. How do you feel about this possible restructure? Do you think it'll help underdogs, or do you think it'll add too much complexity and weight to potentially stronger divisions,
I love it. I like the idea. I think it'd be a ton of fun. You basically get 2 rivals. I just hope I don't get put with, 2 bums that I don't like.
Oh man,
I'm just kidding. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. Definitely an interesting dynamic. I've never played in a league that would be structured like that. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So you say you don't want to be put with bums. Who would your ideal? So obviously we've heard rumblings of possibly the commissioners taking a hands-off approach and saying everybody just chooses their 2 guys. That could turn into some pretty unbearable, lopsided divisions. Would you prefer the commissioners to take a more hands-on approach and balance the league, or let everybody, like, say the big 3 get a division and then like players that or teams that really are in constant contact get divisions? Like, what would you say? And if you're in favor of the hands-off, let everybody choose, who would your ideal guys be that you'd be in a division with,
Well, I'll start with who I'd like to be with. I think it'd be fun. I'd like the Mafiosos. They're already my rival. So I'd enjoy them being in there, getting to beat them, hopefully.
Man, year perhaps is what I've heard it might turn into. And just anyways, keep going.
We took 2 tough losses to them this year, but I'd like to have them. And the other person, possibly the Jawlers. We kind of had some beef a couple weeks ago. I enjoy them. I'd like those guys. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the the fans are screaming. Fans are screaming Pilla's Cox rivalry. I'll just.
I have heard that. It would be tough. Team's not on the same level at this point right now.
Oh, because you're so much better, right?
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
We'll see. I would enjoy
Mhm.
having them.
Yeah.
It'd be like the Patriots and Dolphins,
Oh,
our two teams. So that'd be fun.
the sleeveless shirt repping or
Right,
sleeveless,
absolutely.
obviously. Oh,
Um,
and repping Jesus. I see you. I see you.
I I don't know if I would support the hands-off approach. I just don't know if putting the big three all in one division is good for the league.
Yeah.
I feel like there would be lopsided divisions. I'm sure there'd be one division that would be like the NFC East, and 4 and 7 is winning the division. So I think
Yeah.
a little input from the commissioners might be good.
For sure.
And making an even playing field.
A little holding hands kind of action. I think
Right.
the biggest idea is you want to make the divisions feel like a rivalry. You don't want to just like put people together that don't communicate.
Right. Absolutely.
You want to make it feel like it's an actual thing where you want to beat and you want to have that divisional pride. So I think that's the biggest middle ground they'll have to
Yeah.
overcome when designing these new divisions if they decide to do that. All right.
I'd say take some input from the general managers and the
Mm-hmm.
owners, but also the commissioners should probably be involved.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. I have a little pull here and there. I'll let them know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you all can let them know yourself. Not the corrupt one though. Let the other guy know. I've heard he's
Right.
pretty good.
I'm not sure I want Commissioner Phelan
Oh,
calling the shots.
hey, we don't ever name names, commissioners here. Hey, boys in the back, they'll edit that out.
Yeah,
They're
cut
not.
that out.
They're not
Cut that
going to
out.
edit that out. I'm telling you what, boys in the back, they already left for the day. They're already gone. Anyways, last question I have. How do you think you'll fare in the toilet bowl? Anybody scare you like the reigning champ, the Jay Jollers? Whoa. They could still make it. Sorry. Disrespect. Jollers
Right.
could still make the
Right.
playoffs. 32 from Mapletron could do it. Anyways, if they don't make it,
Doable.
do how do you think you'll do in the toilet bowl, the old TB?
I mean, it depends on my matchup. If I think I get a bye, don't I?
No, big man gets a bye in
I'm
the
not sure. I'm not sure how
TB.
the buys work
Yeah,
there.
it'll keep shaking up depending on what happens against this Ravens Steelers game.
Right. If I could draw, the Bears, we could possibly get our second win, or even the Wolves. It'll be interesting. I don't want to play the Jawlers. They've got some stars
Mm-hmm.
that we don't have. We have maybe one,
Mm-hmm.
half of one in Ronald Jones.
Road
But
playing.
our QB situation is a question mark. Having to start Stafford, it's not great.
I mean, it's not terrible either.
Right. I think we could get a win. Maybe go to the semi. Wait, no, that would.
There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of
We could get a
pride
win.
in the toilet bowl. All the
Right.
teams that want to lose no longer care about losing anymore.
Right.
Their
Exactly.
position's cemented. We can after this week concludes. They're trying to win now. They got to get that old
Right.
toilet bowl. The Jawlers.
Yeah.
They have a lot of pride in taking that win last year.
Yeah, it'll be tough to beat them. And the Duckies, I think they have a good chance at it. But I think we have a shot. It'd be an honor to win it. We're excited and ready to go.
It's awesome. Man, I got nothing else for you, bro. How's your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
How's your stomach? You grow a few pounds?
Possibly. I really gotta hit the track, do some running.
Not now. It's freezing cold.
Oh yeah, it's so cold. Better than Boone though.
Yeah, I was just in that first segment. I was just telling everybody, the audience, that that old boys in the bag, they chipped in, got me a little holiday gift pre-Christmas. They got me a Peloton bike, you know. Oh
Whoa,
yeah, brand spanking new. Boys in the back got that for me, so I did a
that's
little bit
huge.
of a workout. So if I looked a little greasy, that's because of them, you know,
Hey,
making me work off those Thanksgiving pounds.
that's Barry. Barry just got a new rowing machine.
Oh,
Yeah,
BG.
we got to try that one out.
Mm,
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
awesome. Always great having you on here, buddy. Look forward to seeing how you perform in the old toilet bowl. Look forward to hearing about your off-season shenanigans. Finish up strong. We
Thank you.
thank you.
Absolute pleasure to be on here. Hope we can do it again sometime.
For sure, bro. Maybe we'll get you on for a bet segment. You're pretty good at those, you know. We'll get you
You know, we've been on a bit of a hot streak. Hopefully, we can keep it up.
I'm seeing a lot of green this week. Lines makers did not know what they were doing. Did not.
Yeah. No.
Anyways, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Take it easy.
All right, man. You too.